Turn my mic on. Good evening. Nice to see a full room here. Before we begin the regular city council meeting, open session, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during public comment must obtain a number card from the city clerk. If you did not obtain a number and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and city staff will issue you a number card. Lining up during public comment will not be permitted, and each speaker should remain in their seat until their number is called. The time clock will begin when you begin your comments. For the city's meeting rules and for fire safety regulations, and we do have fire staff here tonight, all persons shall remain seated unless addressing the city, the council, or entering or leaving the chambers. Standing in the aisles or along the walls is prohibited. Therefore, there is overflow seating available in the lobby. If there are no available seats in the chambers, please proceed to sit in the lobby. I will now call to order the regular city council meeting. Open session time is now 6:31. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Frometa.
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pemberton.
Present.
And Mayor Sosa.
Present. Thank you. And please join me in welcoming for the invocation Greg Welch, Chaplain of the Downey Police Department.
What a glorious day we had today, celebrating our police and fire folks that had just a celebration to affirm the wonderful job that two individuals have done and received recognition for. We prayed for them. We prayed for the fire and police department, Lord, because they protect us, and it makes Downey what Downey is. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you yet again, servants of this community. And as servants, Lord, we trust that you know our hearts and what we intend to do for good. The service clubs throughout our city, the citizens that volunteer their time, bless them, Lord. The Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club, Seroptimist, Assistance League, and forgive me, Lord, and City of Downey if I forget some, but also good. But you know their hearts as well, Lord, and what they do for our city. So we ask that you bless them in a special way. Our community is strong, and we look to you for guidance, Lord. We pray for the city council and the job that they're doing, the unity that they share, and that we as citizens enjoy. That unity is very special, Lord. Thank you for that. Bless each and every one here and throughout our city. In your name we pray. Amen. Lord, I'm sorry. I have one more request, Lord. Did you a special blessing for the fine husband of our former mayor, Frometa Noveris, that he recover and be strong and be with us as the great friend that he is. We ask you to bless him, and then we thank you for him. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Welch. Please join me in welcoming for the flag salute, Girl Scout Troop 2903.
Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Let's hear it for Troop 2903, please. Please be seated. Now is the time for City Council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, conference and meeting reports. I will start to my far left with Council member out of District 1, Horacio Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's here today. I'm going to keep my comments short. There's not much for me to report for this time. First, I was invited by the Gallatin PTA to participate in a slime assembly, and I got slimed 8 times. It was Mario attended that, I think, last year, so it was a fun event. I also attended the City of STEM in Los Angeles with some of my colleagues. I want to give a shout out to Ben for a job well done. Thank you so much. It was a great event. I also attended the Police and Firefighter of the Year luncheon this afternoon. So I want to take this opportunity to give thanks to our men and women who work tirelessly to keep our community safe. If you can please help me and give them a round of applause to everybody here. And lastly, I attended the Bunny Patch at Golden Park. Within that event, there was another event called the Youth Vendor Fair. And I just want to mention, I know that I mentioned Lemonade Day before, and I just want to make sure that I can expand on that event. I want to help our young kids to really learn how to earn $1. And so I want to make sure, I don't know if I need a second so I can expand on that event.
I will give you a second.
Thank you.
I love that you're bringing up the Youth Commission.
Yes.
That's outstanding.
This event was
Outstanding.
great. I went, there was kids that were crocheting to make purses and sell, and there's going to be a lot of activity with kids that will really want to get involved in that. So I really want to expand on that event. So with that, I conclude my comments for today.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Claudia Frometa.
Thank you, Mayor Sosa. Good evening, everybody. It's always such a pleasure to be here and to have you all here, for those of you that are present, as well as those of you on our YouTube channel. This is your community, and I always say engaged communities are strong communities. I also had the pleasure of attending today's very special luncheon honoring the Firefighter of the Year and the Police Officer of the Year. And there is nothing that gives us more pride here in the city of Downey than having our men and women in uniform. Thank you, law enforcement. Thank you, firefighters, for the work that you do, for the sacrifices that you make to keep our families safe in our community. And thank you, families that stay behind while your loved ones are out here fighting the fires, responding to 911 calls. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Downey is so much better because of you. And so it was really lovely, this luncheon. This was started many, many years ago by a dear friend and former council member, Alex Saab. And this has continued to evolve. And I just, it was so wonderful to see the members of our community, from Rotary to Kiwanis to our Downey Unified School District, as well as our board and superintendent. It really makes Downey the great community that it is. So I had the pleasure of sharing a meal with my colleagues, and thank you. Thank you to those that attended. And once again, thank you to our police and fire. You know, we observe Earth Day today. And maybe that's why I'm wearing a little bit of green. I know my council colleague Pemberton over there has some green as well. I know that across our city and across the country, many communities, and especially school districts, took part actually in some type of Earth celebration. And again, it goes without saying, we are stewards of our natural resources. And it is so important that we continue to take care of our earth and do what we can to make sure that our children and our families are dedicated to preserving natural resources that we have that are so precious. With that, it's hard to believe May is right around the corner. And I do want to bring up, because this is the last meeting before we enter into May, Mental Health Awareness Month is in the month of May. It is critical that we continue to check on our neighbors and check on each other. We continue to see a great increase in mental health issues across our community, from young to old. And a lot of times people don't want to be vulnerable, and they may say they're okay, but they're not okay. So I just want to make sure that we move in the direction of that compassion and kindness, and as May is around the corner, that we can remember that mental health awareness is important. I will not steal the mayor's thunder because he's going to be talking about his big event in June. So, Mayor Sosa, you will talk about that a little bit more. Just a couple of things I do want to bring up to your attention is that we have the State of the District Luncheon, State of the District by Assemblymember Blanca Pacheco, and I see Ari nodding his head. That's coming up this Friday at 11:30 in the morning at the Rio Hondo Country Club. We also have Good, Gangs Out of Downey Officer Ricardo Ricky Galvez Scholarship Celebration this Friday. And again, as we begin to wrap up the school year, it seems, a lot of the scholarship celebrations and the Downey Council PTA Honorary Service Awards is scheduled for April 30th, which is a week from tomorrow. And last but certainly not the least is I want to let you know that City Affairs by our Chamber of Commerce is taking place tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Those of you that own a business in Downey or are thinking about opening a business in this community, this great, thriving community, please, you have to get involved in our Downey Chamber of Commerce. With that, I do want to say thank you and recognize a couple of people in the audience. You're all VIPs, but I do want to recognize a few, and that is Pastor Dan Dutch from Desert Rain Church. Thank you for joining us tonight. I also want to recognize, of course, Michael Calvert, the Executive Director for the Chamber of Commerce. Jeannie Wood, Parks and Rec Commissioner and volunteer extraordinaire. And of course, our dear PD chaplain and Rotary extraordinaire, Greg Welch. With that, I just want to let you all know we continue to be very vigilant. We continue to get emails about calming measures along Downey Avenue, calming measures around major thoroughfares, and we are looking into those. I also want to remind our community, as I was talking about Earth Day, that we have the app, and the app has been upgraded. Correct?
We're in the process.
We're in the process of, but it still works, and it is important to, if you see something, say something. Sometimes we don't report debris and trash because we think our neighbor might have done it already. I want to encourage all of you to please report trash and debris and bulky items that need to be picked up. We do have an app for that, and or a phone number that can be contacted. I don't know that phone number by memory, but please make sure you do that. And if you don't have the Downey app on your phone, I also encourage you to download that, okay? Just one last thing. I did want to bring up, and I've talked to our city manager about that. I know that some businesses have reached out about the increase in transient activity and the increase in some, what is it, hand peddlers? Yes, the street vendors in some areas. And we are hearing you. There's been some meetings about that in some areas of our city, and we are moving in a direction of being more responsive and communicating with our business owners. Also, business owners, we love you, especially the small business owner, but I've got to remind you that it is against city code, the municipal code, to have flashing, blinking neon lights around your windows. And I've spoken to our city manager about that, and I know that we will be having code enforcement go out, especially to the businesses around strip malls that have these blinking, flashing lights. That is against our municipal code. And with that, I will turn it over to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fermetta. We'll now move to my far right, Councilmember Trujillo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I also want to remind you about the Downey app. It's very important that if you see anything, any dumped furniture, graffiti, that you let us know. I like to say that we have a 24-hour promise that we will address that issue hopefully in 24 hours. So please use the Downey app. We met with the Art and Culture Subcommittee, Councilmember Ortiz and myself. As many of you know, Downey has a great history. So one of the things we want to do is change the committee to be the Art, Culture, and History Committee. I always say one of the things that sets us apart from other cities in the area is our rich history, not only with fast food, the oldest McDonald's, right, and the first Taco Bell, and our space history, but also our music. Today is actually would be Carpenter's Day in Downey. For those of you that may not know, we had a brother-sister duo in the 70s and the 80s that were Grammy Award winning. They went to Downey High School. Karen and Richard Carpenter, she actually died here. It was tragic. It made nationwide news. But I want to bring your attention to the fact that Richard will be performing this Saturday at the Carpenter Center in Long Beach State. After Downey High, they went to Long Beach State, and they actually have the Carpenters Performing Arts Center, and Richard will be performing this Saturday. So if you're fans of the Carpenters, tickets are available. We're also promoting our theater. We have a beautiful theater, unlike other cities, and we hope you will support our theater. It's very important to us. It is an investment we make to bring you good entertainment. We have had great artists come out of the theater community, most notably Miranda Crossgrove of iCarly fame, right? So we like to promote arts, culture, and history here in Downey. Something personal to Councilwoman Pemberton and I, we sit in the committee and we get to chime in on what type of entertainment we want. So we have Wild Child, which is a cover band for who? Is it The Doors? All right. We have some Doors fans. And I was a big fan of freestyle dance music. It's almost sold out. You're going to have some performances from freestyle music artists in the 80s. Please look at the entertainment options in our theater. We hope you will find something suitable for your family. Congratulations to the Symphony. They had a very well-attended show. That's another cultural or artistic organization that we support to bring you your own symphony. You have your own symphony here in Downey, so it was good to see a filled auditorium. I was not able to be there, but I was following the attendance, so congratulations to the symphony. And with that, I don't know if I'll need a second, but I was curious if we have an inventory of all the points of entry into our city. I would like to see if we have a finite list of entries. I want to tour and just see what do people see when they come into our city. So I don't know if I need a second for that.
We can provide that to you. Just want to know where the streets cross our jurisdictional boundaries. We can find that.
Yes. I know that Downey's surrounded physically by 8 cities. I just want to know where the entries are, and now that I have time in my hands since I'm semi-retired, I'm going to go drive and see what do people see when they come into our city and see how we could improve it so that they have this great visual perception from point of entry. Thank you. That was all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Trujillo. Now we'll move on to Mayor Pro Tem Dorothy Pemberton.
Thank you, Mayor Sosa. As my colleague has said, Councilmember Trujillo, I attended the Symphony, and it was a pretty much full house. They had the Downey Arts Coalition and the artist in there as well. We have such a treasure, and it's the final show for this season, but you'll be able to catch them this summer when we do concerts in the park. Also, Northwest Downey Little League had a blood drive at the Knights of Columbus, and yes, I was a contributor. I attended our Vector meeting, that's the mosquito board for the surrounding cities. We talked about the green pools in some of the fire areas. We were concerned that they could breed in the pools. They have a system where they're going out and they are spraying. That spraying lasts about 6 months to not allow mosquitoes to breed. Also, single-family residents right now, they pay $19 a year for these services on their tax bill, and they're going to be looking into a new ballot measure. You may see that coming up this year because of increased cost and a new program that they have with the mosquitoes. It's called SIT, Sterile Insect Technique. You want to know about mosquitoes? Where's your science teacher? Come to me. And I'd like to work with our public works. I've already mentioned to city manager that we're checking the street sweeping schedule and areas in our city. I see some areas that might not be addressed because that is in the gutters where the mosquitoes will be breeding. We want to make sure we have a safe and clean city with no mosquitoes in the summer. I'd also like to have them come and give a presentation. They are ready to do so and educate us on different things, and I think that's in the works too before summer. Arbor Day was Saturday, April 22nd, speaking of green, and our city gave away 300 free 1-gallon fruit trees. We had, gosh, I wrote that down. We had peach, pomegranate, apricot, and plum. And what do you think went first? Peach. People love peaches. So it was very well organized here at City Hall. And then 10 trees were planted at the bus depot by the parents and students of the Kirkwood School. So thank you for that. Thank you to our staff, Public Works. I saw Brian and Lisa handing out trees that morning. So everything went well. We had just the right amount of trees as well. We look forward to it next year. There was a ribbon cutting with a new store, a new boutique called Lavender Delights, and that's on 3rd Street, just down the street from here, City Hall. And it's opened by a longtime resident whose name happens to be Violet. Lavender Delights, Violet. And so stop by. It's a feast for the eyes, and we always try to help small businesses. Then I also attended as a board member the SIACA meeting. They had a free wellness clinic last Saturday, and over 166 pets were seen. There were also 11 adoptions. So always think of adoptions. Go to your local animal shelter to give a pet a second home and second chance. And there's some collaboration in the works with schools and volunteers. April 5th through the 30th is Spring Adoption Program that they have, and all dogs are $25. So you might just have enough room to have another little dog or a partner for one that you have already and open up. On the consent calendar, two items that I'd like to note, that we are approving underground utility district on Imperial Highway between Paramount and Quill. What does that mean? Well, that means about 1,400 feet of overhead lines will go underground. So it'll make a nice, clean look over there by Rancho. This is funded by SCE and Rule 20A funds, and the construction, though, won't start till around 2027 late. We also accepted the completion, we'll accept the completion of a bus signal priority project. So 72 signals are updated with equipment for traffic communication. And so what does that mean for bus riders? That they can stay on schedule to the next bus connection, which can be very important. It'll help keep the green light green longer so that they can go through when it gets heavy traffic areas. We have a couple save the dates coming up. April 26th, what day is today? We're still good? April 26th is prescription drug take-back day at City Hall, 10 to 2 with our Downey Police Department. And as my colleague says, we have a couple of concerts coming up, the Ladies of Freestyle. May 10th, Casino Night with the Assistance League of Downey at their chapter house. Then we have also the Street Fair on May 10th from 11 to 6. Contact the Chamber if you'd like a booth or sponsorship. May 17th, Rancho Los Amigos Hospital is having their annual gala, and that is their 39th to help raise funds for what they do. They are the world-renowned hospital for spinal cord injury treatment. And then also on May 19th, if you like to golf, the 1020 Club is hosting the Darrell Jackson annual golf tournament at Rio Hondo. And I just have two follow-up items. City Manager, I've had some requests from residents on the island, and specifically on this corner, Dos Rios and Bluff. It doesn't have any stop signs right now, and it's becoming more heavily trafficked, and of course, speeding around there. We need to look at either putting down on the pavement the path that the car should drive so it doesn't cut in front of another car, and maybe have dedicated stop signs. So if we can look into that corner, Dos Rios and Bluff, I know the residents would appreciate that. Right now, there's only a yield on 2 signs, but as we know, everything is increasing. It'll help save pedestrian walking. The other item is maybe we can look into, I saw on social media a request on Florence Avenue, close to the old McDonald's, Bellman and Tristan. There's an interesting left-hand turn signal there. And there was a recent accident, and it's been there for a long time, and those who know the area, I don't know if we need to put a permanent center divider so you can't turn left. Would that cause more problems with some of the residents? But let's see what we can do to avoid the collisions and any other future accidents. And finally, tomorrow is Administrative Professionals Day. Back in my day, it was called Secretary's Day, and I appreciated it. But if you have an administrative assistant or someone that works for you, thank them, and thank them for doing the good work and behind the scenes that they do for you. And that concludes my comments.
Thank you, MPT Pemberton. Councilmember Fermenta, you had a couple other items?
Thank you. Yes, I will be brief. I did want to acknowledge, and I know you will do that too, but Dr. Carrie White from Warren High School, thank you for being here tonight, as well as, yes, round of applause for you. And David Cha, Warren High teacher extraordinaire. I wanted to bring to the attention of our city staff is I've had some residents contact me because they apparently Edison has contracted with some vendors about trimming trees or going into the properties, and the community, as you can imagine, they don't know if this is really from Edison or it isn't, and they are going door to door wanting to gain access to the property, these individuals. And apparently it's a couple of 3 different companies, but they announce themselves as being from Southern California Edison. And so I just want to make sure that we are working with them and that we know and we are letting our residents know whether this is safe or it isn't. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
No, they do have their own contractors that work independent of the city, but they do that work regularly. We'll check and see what's going on and make sure we can verify whether they're legitimate or not. So we can coordinate with them.
That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Fermetta. I believe Edison's here tonight. Yeah. Anyways, good evening, everyone. Glad to see a full house. As mentioned earlier, we did honor the police officer and firefighter of the year. And we're going to acknowledge some more of our first responders tonight. I just want to take a moment, and we give a lot of love and kudos to our police and fire, but I just want to give a shout out to the support staff behind those 2 awesome departments. So please join me giving, I see some of them here, some of the support staff for each of those respective departments. Yes, thank you for acknowledging Dr. White and David Chaw. You kind of stole my thunder. The couple of bears there, thank you. It's good to see you guys. Yes. So I attended the City of STEM. For those of you who don't know, the City of STEM is run through the City of Downey. It's led by our great director, Ben Dickow. And that was last weekend, or the previous weekend, at Exposition Park in LA. And for those of you who don't know, the City of STEM through the City of Downey is the official science festival of LA County. That's a big deal. So nice job, Ben. And I also attended, I'm a board member for the Celico Workforce Development Policy Board. And, we're to report on some of the meetings that we attend. And I see some young folks in the crowd. We are working on some initiatives to build some strategic alliances with our local businesses, small and big, for internships and entry-level job opportunities. So stay tuned on that. I also serve on the board representing Downey. I attended the LA County Sanitation District meeting, and that was as exciting as sanitation gets. So I also did attend the Cerritos College State of the College. I took a few classes a long time ago at Cerritos College. And I got to say, I was really impressed by the presentation and the updates provided by Dr. Jose Fierro. And Cerritos College, I think, is the premier community college in the region. And they got a lot of good stuff going on, so check them out. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, we have a couple of exciting events coming up. If you're a veteran, we're hosting the Veterans Breakfast on Saturday, May 24th, which is Memorial Day weekend. And that's going to be at the Columbia Memorial Space Center. So if you know a veteran, come enjoy breakfast on us. And I believe there's registration available, so we can make sure we have enough food and resources. Also, for the first time ever, one of my initiatives as mayor this year, we are going to have a men's health awareness fair on Saturday, June 7th. And that's going to be at the Barbara J. Riley Center at Apollo Park. And is that the Apollo Park or Columbia Space Center? Apollo Park, okay. Apollo Park, I just came up with the idea and they're planning it. But this is, I think it's a critical event. Men's mental health and men's health seldom gets talked about because of the stigma tied to it. But stay tuned for that, and please spread the word. Want to make this inaugural Men's Health Awareness Fair a success, so please join us with that. And with that said, that concludes my comments. Again, it's great to see a full house here, and I'll now turn it over to our City Manager, Roger Bradley.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of quick seconds. There was a request for a stop sign study on Dos Rios and Bluffdale. If I can get a
Second.
There's interest from council on that one. Thank you. And then the other one was the Bellman interest in median left turn lane study. Is there a second on that item?
Second.
All right, that's it from staff. Thank you.
Okay, I will now make my way down. We have a few presentations this evening. Well, we have a few exciting presentations tonight. I do see quite a few Warren Bear families. Yeah, that's right. As the mayor, I'm supposed to be neutral, but go Bears. All right. Okay. We're going to start off with Josh Barrera from Warren High School, Northeastern University Torch Scholarship recipient and 2025 Amazon Scholarship recipient. Joshua Barrera is a dedicated student, leader, and passionate advocate for his community with a strong commitment to service. Josh has consistently demonstrated leadership through various roles, including volunteering with local organizations and working to create positive change in his community. His academic pursuits are rooted in his interest in technology and innovation, where he has excelled in STEM subjects and developed skills in coding and web development. Joshua's resilience and determination have driven him to overcome obstacles, balancing his academic responsibilities with extracurricular activities and part-time work to support his family. He has shown remarkable time management skills and a strong work ethic in both his studies and personal life, including his recent accomplishment of being awarded the 2025 Amazon Scholarship and has been accepted to several top universities. Joshua continues to pursue his passion for technology and looks forward to furthering his education and impact in his field. Joshua will be attending Northeastern University this fall. And maybe Joshua, wherever you're at, should talk to Ben, who's in charge of the Columbia Memorial Space Center. Maybe there's a future there. But please join me in welcoming Josh Barrera.
Thank you so much.
Here's a pin, city pin. Here's a certificate from, there's a certificate, he gets a city pin, a certificate from Downey's own Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco. And I'll read this, it's kind of in tiny writing, but from the City of Downey, in recognition of your exemplary academic achievements, congratulations on earning the Northeastern University Torch Scholarship and the 2025 Amazon Scholarship. You embody the character counts principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, inspiring future generations of Warren High School students. Congratulations, Josh Barrera.
Thank you so much. I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to Mayor Sosa and the rest of the city officials. Standing before you today feels truly surreal, and I'm incredibly honored. I would also wish to extend my sincere thanks to Mr. Cha and Mr. Arnold for helping me put my hard work and achievements on paper, as well as Dr. White for being one of the best principals in California. I'm especially grateful for my aunt and my uncle, whose unrelenting support and encouragement has been more to me than words can express. But most of all, I'd like to thank my mother. It was not easy taking care of two children, sharing a house in East LA with two other families. I still remember waking up around 5:30 in the morning in order to go to Imperial Elementary over here. Growing up in a religious household, my mother always told me, give more, and God will return it to you at 100-fold. I struggle to understand those words, but standing here, I believe I am a true testament to that. My mother has been my greatest source of strength and resilience, and her support alongside the DEPT program has been invaluable. I like to think I got my drive and determination from her. Balancing 2 jobs while working with Soul's nonprofit with my friend Andra, volunteering at a shelter that helps support low-income single mothers at Los Alamitos, and assisting nurses and patients at PIH Hospital, my friends, has all been powerful and meaningful in my journey. I am currently pursuing my passion via an internship at American Tech in Los Angeles, working with bioinformatics, using my passion for data science in order to help others and try to help diagnose and understand brainwaves a little better. It is my hope to one day uplift and support others who, like me, were raised by a single parent and face the challenges of being a first-generation college student and immigrants. I understand how impactful it can be to have someone to offer guidance during those times. Once again, thank you so much to the City Hall, and especially Mr. Cha, whom saw my potential and helped me get my scholarship at Northeastern. When I saw that I got accepted, I was over the moon. I couldn't believe that I actually got such an opportunity, especially in addition with my Amazon Future Engineer Scholarship. I was super shocked because I was surprised under the guise of a financial aid questionnaire rather than an actual acceptance. And when I got accepted, my heart was beating faster than I could ever imagine. Once again, thank you to my family who has always been my biggest support system, and thank you to the whole AVID program, Dr. White, and my counselor who had much faith in me and helped me in my journey. If there is one message I hope to convey and leave behind, it is this: no matter how difficult your circumstances may be, if you remain resilient and continue to do what you love to do, there will always be a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, next we will honor America Ramirez, Warren High School student, Northeastern University Torch Scholarship recipient. America grew up selling flowers on the streets of Compton when she was 6 years old. At 14, she took on significant responsibilities at her mother's small flower shop in the same neighborhood, working up to 60 hours per week during the holidays. By the time she entered high school, America was already managing older workers and handling customer relations like a pro. In her freshman year, her father passed away due to liver cancer, leaving her devastated. As her grades took a major hit and she refused to give up and relied on her avid teachers and peers for support. Finding solace through music, literature, and journaling, America overcame depression and academic setbacks, demonstrating remarkable resilience. America's interest in medicine, sparked by family health issues, not only led to success in the classroom, but also contributed to promoting sun safety awareness through Solace for Outdoor Workers organization, driven by her background as a street vendor. A model of perseverance, America was accepted to Northeastern University as one of only 15 Torch scholars nationwide, full scholarship, as well as UC Riverside, UC Merced, Cal Poly Pomona, Cal State Long Beach, Cal State LA. She plans to pursue pre-medicine. America has selected to attend Northeastern in the fall. Please join me in welcoming America Ramirez. America gets a certificate of recognition from our Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco as well, and also the Mayor's Outstanding Citizen Award, which reads, "In recognition of your exemplary academic achievements, congratulations on earning the Northeastern University Torch Scholarship. You embody the character counts principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, inspiring future generations of Warren High School students." And I just read the same thing, but I have to read it for every single one of them because you are worthy of that, America. Thank you so much and congratulations.
All right, good evening. My name is America Ramirez, and I just want to start off by thanking the mayor and thank you to everyone for the recognition. And I just really want to dedicate my thank you to the Downey district. Coming from many different districts such as LAUSD and Compton, Downey, they do not compare to Downey. I remember enrolling during very hectic, the hectic period of COVID, which is where me and my mom, my family opened our very own business, and we dedicated a lot of time to selling on the street. That became our main source of income. From that period, I knew that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to take advantage of my education, and that's where I found Downey. I enrolled in Stauffer and ended up at Warren, which is where I found the AVID program. The AVID program really helped me in my high school career as I faced a lot of obstacles and a lot of obstacles that I couldn't have done without AVID, and especially Mr. Cha. I really want to thank you because I have a superstitious belief that I was meant to be in your class for my AVID senior year, because I have never had a schedule issue until my senior year, and that ended me. I ended up being in your AVID class, and without that, I would not be where I am today. So I thank you so much for that. Dr. White, thank you for your support. Thank you for seeing my story, and just thank you for everything. I want to thank all of my AVID groups. I want to thank Jocelyn, Bella, and Cassandra. You guys have always motivated me to do better, especially Jocelyn and Calc. You guys have shown me how to really do my best in my classes and to always. I found out who I was meant to be, and that's. I'm sorry, I'm really nervous. Sorry. I want to thank my mom. You are such a hard worker, and I love you so much. Luis, thank you for supporting me through everything. Also, I'm very grateful for my mom for being my first boss and for always showing me how to always approach and always have great conversations with clients and get to know them and their story, which is something that I plan to pursue at Northeastern as a pre-med in neuroscience, where as a doctor, I hope to help others in the way that, and just motivate them to always pursue the best that they can do. And I'm just really eager to be a doctor where I can help others in the way that Downey has supported me. Thank you.
Okay, very inspiring. Again, the Mayor's Outstanding Citizen Award, this is what I had envisioned, just want to be able to recognize people I've never even heard of. And thank you to Dr. Kerry White and David Shaw. Our family is very familiar with both of them, and my sons have worked with Mr. Shaw through the Christian Athletes and through AVID, so thank you. I know you all know David Shaw, he's a little shy. So we have more. Melissa Conchola from Warren High School, scholarship recipient. Melissa is a driven student leader, advocate, and passionate scholar. She has demonstrated exceptional leadership as a member of the Superintendent's Student Advisory Committee, where she worked to enhance equity and accessibility within the Downey Unified School District. As a first-generation student, Melissa utilized the AVID program to prepare for university, mentoring underclassmen and excelling in her academic pursuits. Her passion for science led her to conduct impactful research on health disparities, including studying the effects of racism on the health of Hispanic and Black Americans. She participated in the Samuels Family Latino and African American High School Internship Program, engaging in leukemia research and presenting her findings to medical professionals. These are really impressive high school students. Melissa is also dedicated to community involvement, revitalizing the Teen Book Club at Whittier Public Library and advocating for mental health awareness. Accepted to several prestigious universities, including Wellesley College and Smith College, Melissa will pursue STEM studies, continuing her journey of leadership and academic excellence. Melissa will attend college in the fall and is considering what university she will attend. She's got her pick, or choices. Anyways, please join me in welcoming Melissa Conchola. Congratulations. There's your pen. Okay, another certificate from Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco. Okay, and this one's slightly different. In recognition of your exemplary academic achievements, congratulations on earning Wellesley College and Smith College scholarships. You embody the character counts principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship, inspiring future generations of Warren High School students. Congratulations, Melissa.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to start off by saying thank you. I just want to start off by offering my thanks to not only the mayor, but the city officials and administration who probably work hard to put this off. Like, I bet you guys do this really often, right? And I also want to thank the administration in DUSD, not only administration, the staff, and my teachers here today. My amazing teachers, I had Mr. Cha for bus. He was there with me on Zoom during my lunch breaks for my internship, and we were just like hitting those essays. And then all throughout my first semester and even in second semester, Mr. Arnold continues to support me as I am going through seeing where I'm gonna spend the next 4 years. And so I'd like to give them both a shout out. And as well as Dr. Carrie White, she is super kind, and like I remember seeing her like sometimes on Fridays walking out of Warren, and I can tell that she truly cares about her students. And I just want to say thank you so much. And because of my time I've been in DUSD all my life, I've had the opportunity to meet all of my wonderful friends, the majority of them who are here with me today. I've known most of these people since middle school, even elementary, and even preschool. And every single one of you guys are high achievers, and whether it's academically or extracurricularly. And I just want to say that you guys push me to be the best version that I can be of myself every day. You guys motivate me to become a better person and a better student, and I just want to say my thanks. Moreover, I'd like to thank the people who are my why to every action I do. My greatest motivators, which are my parents. My mom's here today. I'm the type of person, when I see people work so hard and sacrifice so much, I feel like I get the motivation to do the same thing. And so my mom and dad are the perfect example. They have shown me nothing more than resilience, love, and support all throughout my life. They work tirelessly to ensure that I can be a kid, soon adult, who can have the resources to explore whatever passions or interests I have. And growing up in a one-bedroom apartment, sharing not only like beds with my family, but like sleeping on a mattress on a floor. I remember being besides my parents and listening to them tell me to go to college and never stop pursuing my education. And at first, I only took this as like, oh, like that's just my mom telling me advice. But no, I really saw this sacrifice for the American dream they both had. They both came here from Mexico, not really knowing anyone, not really knowing how to speak English. And I would see my dad work 6 days a week, coming home late, and I really understood what it meant to sacrifice. And then not only that, I think I really understood what it meant to pursue education and to take every opportunity to learn from my mom when I saw her attend the Downey Adult School not even knowing that much English, and she got her high school diploma like when I was in middle school. It really showed me that if she can do it, I can do it. And so that's why I've always had a passion for the sciences, and I had the opportunity to work at the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles and meet so many other hardworking people. And I discovered that I don't just love the sciences, I love seeing how the sciences affect people around me. And I love being challenged every day and seeing how I can help others too. And that's why I'm really excited to see where I end up, because I know I'll try my best, get further involved in research, and hopefully get closer towards pursuing my goal of becoming an OBGYN or genetic counselor, knock on wood. I'm sure just like my peers, we've been breaking boundaries this entire year, our entire life, we've worked hard. And I'm sure this is just the beginning of our journey. You guys have so much more to do, trust me. And you guys, I'm excited to see where you will all be going. And thank you guys, because I'm so lucky to be besides you guys. You guys are all such high achievers in your own way. And thank you so much for this time. Thank you.
Mr. Arnold? Ms. Harris? These are all high achievers.
All right, Horacio, here we go.
All people to the back.
I got somebody taller than us already.
All right, very impressive. We have one more student from Warren High. Just a reminder for the Mayor's Outstanding Citizen Award, if you know of anybody that's making a difference in our community, I want to hear about them. And just so you know, for the Warren Bears in this room, David Chaw, who I've known for a long time, was the first recipient of my Mayor's Outstanding Citizen Award. And he gave a legendary speech while he was here.
I apologize.
No, sorry. It was really good. You had people in tears, you had people laughing. It's on YouTube. All right. Andra Campos, Warren High School student, Edison International Scholarship recipient. And she made headlines. Andra Campos is a highly accomplished student leader and innovator dedicated to creating positive social impact. As a passionate advocate for son safety, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. She founded Solace for Outdoor Workers, a nonprofit that has grown to 60 global members and established 15 international chapters promoting sun safety for outdoor workers. Andra also founded the First Glen Students Club and serves as the president of the Girls Who Code Club, demonstrating her commitment to empowering others, especially underrepresented communities. A talented developer, Andra created ProjectConnectForum.com, a social platform that connects students with passion projects reaching over 35,000 users worldwide. Her skills were further recognized when she won the 2023 Congressional App Challenge for developing SunScan, an app that provides accessible UV index information and sun safety tips. It's pretty impressive. As a student, Andra has interned with All of Us Research Program and the National Institutes of Health, where she worked on addressing healthcare data disparities for Latino outdoor workers. She's also the author of Math Speaks, a book exploring the applications of mathematics in various fields. In addition to her academic pursuits, Andra has received several accolades, including the Edison Scholarship, National Academic Honor by College Board, and acceptance to 3 top universities, including Stanford with a full scholarship, Columbia, and USC. Andra will study data science, where she will continue her journey of academic excellence and social impact. Andra has selected to attend Stanford in the fall. Congratulations, Andra. Now, at this time, I would like to call upon Francisco Martinez, Government Relations Manager for Southern California Edison.
Good evening, City Council Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity. Just a few words about the Edison Scholarship. It is a program that recognizes students who are makers of tomorrow, the dreamers, inventors, guardians, and pioneers, those who dare to be great. 2025 marks the 20th anniversary of the Edison Scholarship Program, awarding 30 students annually $50,000 for their program. Andra is one of 30 recipients this year, and she'll be teamed up with an executive for the next 4 years in college. She'll have a chance to come back and intern at Edison International with us, hopefully. She has a lot of opportunities out there, and we are thankful for her application process. There were students from 14 counties, up to 250 cities that applied, and she's just one of 30. Congratulations.
Here, don't lose that. Yeah, be careful. Here you go. Here's a city pin, another certificate from our Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco, and Andra Campos, the Mayor's Outstanding Citizen Award in recognition of your exemplary academic achievements. Congratulations on earning the 2025 Edison International Scholarship. You embody the character counts, principles of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, citizenship, inspiring future generations of Warren High School students. Congratulations once again, Andra.
I feel incredibly honored to be here. I thank the mayor, the city council, and all of my teachers and friends who have supported me, as well as my family, my mom, my dad, even my brother who tags along with me for every car ride, and my grandparents, my uncle and aunt. All of them have been incredibly helpful and integral to my journey. And they have put so much time and effort towards turning me into the person that I am, that I want to be that same person for others. And that is why I started my website. So I want to mention that I'm in this situation thanks to a car ride. I hardly even remember the destination. I just remember strolling around Downey in the passenger seat of my mom's Toyota. And at that moment, I was reflecting on where I stood as a student after I had landed the research internship of my dreams. I finally felt like I was making a tangible change and working to help underrepresented communities in healthcare. But most of all, I felt lucky. I felt lucky to be doing the work that I was doing, lucky to be in the position that I was in, and lucky to be making a difference. However, I knew that if I could make an impact, so could others. I didn't want students to need to be lucky to do the work that I was doing. While I reflected on the amazing opportunity that I had as a sophomore in high school, it also made me realize the opportunities I had were not accessible to all, and I wanted to change that. That's when I decided to create Project Connect Forum, a platform that connects students with opportunities to start initiatives and join organizations that help them achieve their goals. It was ultimately during that car ride that I had dedicated myself to ensuring that other students had the same opportunities to thrive and make an impact as I did. And so, in my car, I decided to pull out my phone and jot down the ideas that were pacing through my mind in my notes app. I wrote social network idea, website for students who want to do more but don't have the resources to do so. As I sat frantically typing on my phone, making sure each of my ideas were written down in my notes, I'm sure my mom had no idea what had just happened. Maybe she assumed I was texting a friend, and perhaps she assumed nothing at all. And that's the magic of an idea. They happen when nobody's expecting it. And if you're the one recognizing the problem, it's up to you to act on that and make the change. Anything can be important if you let it be. Take car rides, for example. I do want to say that I used to think that jobs were concrete. To make a change, you'd have to be something like a doctor, a teacher, or a lawyer. But I'm deciding to carve my own path, and my education in STEM will help me in that. I realized you don't need the title. You need the work ethic and support from your community. You can be anything, including a student, and still be the difference that you want to see. And that's made possible by having a strong community and sense of support like we do in Downey. And thanks to Edison, money no longer has to be a worry for me and my family, and I can focus on being the change I believe the world needs by encouraging the next generation of change makers. I thank all the people, the mayor, the city council, my school, family, and all of those who have invested their time into me, and I'm working to pay that back by investing my time into the students who have a desire to make a change too. I thank my family and mentors, and I beg others to be willing to invest their time in those around them too. Because you never know who may be the next person to come up with a crazy idea in a car ride and transform it into something you may have never imagined. Thank you.
Audrey, your speech.
Is he third place? No.
All right, let's hear one more time for these very impressive students. Oh, very impressive students, and behind every impressive student is an impressive support system, family. Let's give it up to the families of these bright kids. All right, now we move on to first responder professionals. Now we will honor and congratulate Fire Captain Chris Bohannon, firefighter of the quarter for the Downey Fire Department. Fire Captain Chris Bohannon has served the city of Downey for 30 years. He began his career in Downey in 1995 as a firefighter. During his long tenure, he has held the rank of firefighter, paramedic, engineer, and he promoted to fire captain in 2015. Currently, Chris is a fire captain and training officer assigned to Fire Station 1. In addition to his duties as a captain, Chris plays an important part in the development of current and future Downey firefighters. Captain Bohannon is being recognized not only for his many contributions to the Downey Fire Department, but to his commitment to the community both here in Downey and throughout the region. He has provided expert leadership on many large-scale emergency incidents, including the Thomas Fire in 2017, the Carr Fire in 2018, the Dixie Fire in 2021, the Ukaipa mudslides in 2022, and most recently on the Palisades and Eaton incidents in January of this year. Chris Bohannon is a true asset to the Downey Fire Department and the city of Downey. His calm demeanor and vast experience contribute daily to the department's success. He leads his crew with integrity, professionalism, and competence. Chris has been married to his bride, Heidi, for 26 years. Congratulations. And they even met in the Downey Community Hospital emergency room. That's for another story. Together, they have 3 children, Paige and Holly, 23, and Jack, 22. Please join me in welcoming Fire Captain Chris Bohannon.
Thank you very much.
It's another city pen. Recognition from Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco. And Chris Bohannon, on behalf of the citizens of Downey, in recognition of your accomplishment in being selected firefighter of the quarter, your dedication, teamwork, and outstanding performance have embodied the standards of professionalism and ethics. Through your actions, you raise the bar and inspire those around you. Thank you for your continued contributions to the city of Downey. Congratulations, Chris.
Thank you, sir. Thanks very much. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. It's a great honor. Mayor Sosa, the rest of the city council, thank you very much. It was a big surprise to me that they entertained me to be up here tonight, but thank you all so much. As he said, 30 years ago, I started my journey here. It's gone by very quickly. My folks are here, Mark and Norma. Thank you for your support when I said 30 some odd years ago, I want to be a firefighter, and you guys were fully 100% on board and always helped me out, so thank you. My crew, you guys know, nothing happens without the support of you guys. I know I come up with a lot of big ideas, and you guys are always 100% supportive, so I appreciate that very much, more than you guys know. And lastly, my wife and my children, thank you for always being supportive for all those incidents I'm taking off, and I got to call my wife and say, I'm going again. And she's, okay, we got it. So thank you all for everything that you do. I can't do it without you. And again, thank you for the recognition tonight. My wife did ask if she's going to have to take a picture tonight, and I said, I don't know, but now you know. So come on up, or in a second, right? Yeah.
Well, that's relevant because, as I said for the students, so behind every successful firefighter is a successful support system, and I see it right there, part of it. So congratulations, guys. Okay, final presentation of the night, Police Officer Salvador Hinojosa, Police Officer of the Quarter for the Downey Police Department. Yes, yes. Salvador grew up in Downey and attended Doty Middle School and Downey High School, where he graduated in 2018. After graduating high school, Salvador attended Whittier College, where he earned a bachelor's degree in sociology. In 2022, Salvador applied with the Santa Ana Police Department and was hired as a police officer recruit. Salvador attended the Orange County Sheriff's Department Academy and graduated in April of 2023. And Salvador went into the field training program, and upon completion of his training, he was assigned as a patrol officer. Salvador's dream was to always become a Downey police officer and serve the community he grew up in. As a result, Salvador applied with the Downey Police Department as a lateral police officer. And congratulations, because Downey PD is very selective. In November 2023, Salvador was hired by the Downey Police Department, and he completed his field training program in May of 2024 and is currently assigned to patrol work in the day shift. Since he has been on patrol, Salvador has proven himself to be a hard worker who is proactive and caring. In addition to his regular duties, Salvador is an alternate for the SRO program, School Resource Officer Program, and is a member of our special response team who were recently deployed to Pasadena to patrol the areas impacted by the fires. Salvador truly embodies the qualities we are looking for in our officers. In his free time, Salvador enjoys playing golf, training in martial arts, and spending time with his friends and family who are extremely supportive and in attendance today. Please join me in congratulating Police Officer Salvador Hinojosa. There you go. Certificate from Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco. And being on SRO on the high school campus, do they mistake you for a high school student?
Sometimes.
Okay, okay. In recognition of your accomplishment in being selected police officer of the quarter, your dedication, teamwork, and outstanding performance have embodied the highest standards of professionalism and ethics. Through your actions, you raise the bar and inspire those around you. Thank you for your continued contributions to the Downey Police Department and Downey community. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to City Council for recognizing me here today. Thank you to my friends and family for showing up today. It wouldn't be possible without you guys. Thank you specifically to my mom and dad for letting me grow up in this city and give me the best opportunity possible. This city has made me the man that I am today. I had the best education, made the best friends, and just an overall good person. Huge shout out to my counselor who's here today, Miss Red Fox, and she was always supportive till this day, so thank you to her. Thank you just to the city in general. Every time I show up to work, I always take every call seriously because this city made me the man I am, and I always want to give back, and I feel like it's my time. So thank you so much, and thank you to Downey Police Department, Chief Wagner. Thank you, sir. Endless support from him. He always has our backs, and thank you to City Council, our city manager. Very, very supportive. Also, too, want to give a huge shout out to my supervisor, Sergeant Daniel, and my beat partner, Officer Arriaga. We also work day shift, and we're very, very busy, but I want to thank the citizens of this community who voiced their opinions and voiced their requests for us to help them out, and we always take every call seriously for you guys, and we're doing our best with what we have, so thank you so much for that. Just overall, thank you. I just can't thank everyone enough for being here and being very supportive, so thank you guys.
I'd like to get Barry Red Fox up here too.
We're just all family.
Yeah, family.
I'm gonna scoot this back a little bit, okay? Come on in.
Let's give a round of applause to the support system.
Mayor.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Chief Lochner. And then we'll get the flash. All right, that concludes our presentations. Thank you, guys. Okay, that was fun. Now there are 3 public hearings this evening. Public hearing number 1, item number 1, public hearing number 6, to consider and discuss the transition to a 5-district election system, review draft district maps, and if map adoption is finalized, introduce ordinance amending Downey Municipal Code, Section 2103 regarding election by 5 districts, defining district boundaries and scheduling elections within the districts pursuant to the California Voting Rights Act, CVRA, that City Council, 1, hold the 6th public hearing to consider any public input and to discuss the transition to an election system consisting of 5 individual districts. And number 2, conduct further review of draft district maps, including focus maps, and finalize selection of map for adoption, or alternatively, continue discussion at a further public hearing. And 3, if a map is selected based on that map, introduce an ordinance amending Downey Municipal Code Section 2103 regarding election by 5 districts, defining district boundaries, and scheduling elections within the districts pursuant to the California Voting Rights Act. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open. The time is 7:59. City Clerk Duarte, do you have proof of publication?
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the
So
publication?
moved.
Second?
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report?
Yes, Mayor. City Attorney Funk will introduce the item.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members of the public. Tonight's public hearing is the latest hearing in a process by which the council has been considering a transition in the city's election system to a system that would consist of 5 individual districts from a system that we presently have that is 4 districts plus 1 at-large district. At this juncture, the council has identified 8 what I'll call focus maps for discussion. Those maps will be the center of discussion tonight, and they contain an array of what a 5-district system would be composed of, graphically speaking. If a map is selected tonight, then an ordinance would also be introduced based on that map. That ordinance would serve to implement a 5-district system. and have its second reading at the next meeting on May 13th. The council, if an ordinance is introduced, the council will also have to decide whether the changes would take effect in November 2026 or November 2028. With us tonight, again, is Doug Johnson, our demographer, who has been preparing the maps in compliance with federal and state guidelines. If you recall, the public has also been able to submit maps all along this process. Doug is here once again tonight to lend his expertise and answer any questions that you may have and collect any input if there is any further input on those maps. So with that, I will hand it over to Doug, and thank you once again.
Thank you, City Attorney Funk. Welcome, Doug. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Good to be back here in Downey.
We still need 2 more.
I will say up front, we don't have any new maps, so my presentation will be brief. So, okay. So just to touch on, as you just heard, we are well into this process. We have done all the required hearings up to this point, so now this is just whatever the council's desire in order to get to a decision point. And perhaps introduce an ordinance if you're ready to do so tonight, which would then be finally adopted on second reading. I should note that there's no limit to how many hearings you can have, so if you do want more maps, we can go there, but I think we do have, as you'll see, a lot of maps. As a reminder, the criteria for how maps are drawn and selected, very briefly, because we've been over this at each hearing, but federal laws require equal population, compliance with the Federal Voting Rights Act, and no racial gerrymandering. And all the maps that you're looking at are fine on all 3 of those points. And then we have the California criteria in priority order, contiguous, all the maps are contiguous. We want to minimize the division or avoid as much as we can the division of neighborhoods and communities of interest. We want to try to follow easily identifiable boundaries like rivers and major roads and try to be compact. Don't bypass one group of people to get to another group of people. And then also noteworthy, the state has a prohibition, shall not adopt election district boundaries for purpose of favoring or discriminating against an incumbent, a candidate, or a political party. So those are the criteria we want to focus on as we review these maps. As you just heard, we've been through 22 maps, so it's been a lot of maps to discuss. And technically, nothing is final until it's all final, so you could come back to one of those if you really wanted to. But we do have the 8 maps that were selected as the focus maps at the last meeting, 4 of which on the top row involve having a central district, and then each of the 4 other districts in each quadrant around it. And then we have 4 that are really, each one is quite unique in how it approaches this map. I will say, I'm not expecting you to evaluate things from the PowerPoint slide. These are available and have been available on the website and on the interactive review map, and which allows you to zoom in and out. And I will add, Councilman Trujillo, on your request about the street entrances, if you go to the interactive review map, there's actually a button. And if you're online, it will follow you as you drive around the city. So you can actually see where you're entering each of the streets that enter the city. It does have some fun little tricks to it. So that is my quick little introduction. Happy to go through any maps, answer any questions you have about any of the maps. I will note, if you do pick a map tonight, we would then go through the process of changing the letters to numbers and figure out which districts would also be up in which years as part of introducing the ordinance, if we get that far. So that's my presentation. Happy to answer any questions now or after the public comment.
Thank you, Doug. Do any members of the council have any questions or comments at this time?
I've taken a look at all the maps, and there's some to me that make it more definitive no, because as even some residents have said, it zigzags. We want to make sure that areas are very well delineated. Some have that, some don't. Some cut into sections that make it hard for residents even to know who is what. Some come into a different area where some of the existing districts will lose some of their constituency and such. So, I'm open to hear a discussion on some of the others, but I have a preference for like about 2 or 3, so can have that dialogue.
Any other colleagues have comments or questions at this time?
Mayor Sosa, no questions, just a comment regarding the previous map that I had favored. Again, I think we want to be very cognizant of not breaking those neighborhoods apart. And yes, we reviewed a great number of maps, but the one that I've been leaning more towards really keeps more or less the districts a little more intact, and that allows for that new district to have a good good balance between all of them. So I'm eager to continue the conversation and see what the rest of my colleagues have to say. And if I may, I am disappointed by the opposing council's willingness to provide an extension for us. I think we have been doing our due diligence, and we have been working to make sure that the decision this council takes is for the good of the community, whether we're on these seats or not. And so I just think that it is, unfortunately, it is disingenuous of the opposing council to not want to work with us and give us that extension. And for those people that are advising or have advised us to just leave it as is and take it to court, I want to remind the community that we as elected officials are stewards of our community and our community's dollars. And I'm not in favor of writing checks to lawyers who are taking advantage of the California Voting Rights Act and are pressuring us to make this decision. And so again, we could just leave it as and continue the conversation, but I definitely am not willing to gamble with our people's money and take it up in court. I do think that, again, this is the only time that we've had as a council to engage in deliberate discussion. And I'm just, again, I'm disappointed that we still need to do things in a bit of a hurry. We've been working on this, and I think we could agree we would like to have more time. This is going to impact the city of Downey for
years,
forever. And so I don't like to be put under this type of pressure by a rookie attorney who is not willing to work with us. That ends my comment.
Thank you, Councilmember Fermetta. Anyone else have any comments or questions? I will say that, again, Councilmember Fermetta alluded to this, but anytime we have these discussions, again, this is a big decision for our city. It's going to could potentially impact the way we vote going forward. But we do have to be stewards. We always have to have do a cost-benefit analysis. With the threat of potential litigation, you look at this thing, and you have to take in what the residents say. I know a lot of residents do like the fact that they're able to currently, under the system that we currently have, vote for two residents or two representatives to represent them, one district and one citywide. But again, it always goes back to the cost-benefit analysis. I personally see that I think we do have a defensible argument here, but at what cost? And that's a tough decision that we have to weigh. And I do share the same sentiments on the opposing council, and I really just see this as an opportunistic legal shakedown. That's pretty much sums it up. So I want to go ahead and hear some of the public comments and some of the further deliberation from the dais here, and then we'll see where we go from there. So thank you, Doug. Any other questions or comments for Doug?
Okay. I just want to mention that I do agree with my council colleagues. One thing I hate the most is that we're put in a corner that will dramatically change how the voting system in our community goes, and it's a bit disappointing. I wish we have a lot more time to discuss something so dramatic for our community. I am in favor of reducing the maps that we have. Hopefully by today we can decide on at least 1 or 2 maps because we only have one more, if I'm not mistaken, one more meeting after this to discuss the maps. And given that we have 8 right now that we discussed last time, I think it's important for us and to really slim down to at least 2 or maybe 3 maps to discuss and deliberate which one's the best. The only thing I would just say is just I hate being put in a corner to make these decisions, and it's unfortunate because we were making those changes, and that's the only thing I would say. Just
Councilmember Trujillo.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to let the residents know and to assure you, as my colleague, former Mayor Fermetta has said multiple times, even though we are elected to individual districts, we're accessible. We really look out for the entire city. I think this council has highlighted how we work well together for the benefit of the entire city. It's never about your district versus our district. So I just want to assure you, even though you may lose 1 representative, you really have 5 representatives who are here available. And never hold back. If you have an issue anywhere in the city, contact any 5 of us. We're here. It doesn't have to be your individual rep. We really do work in tandem, the 5 of us together. So I want to assure everyone that you're not going to lose the effectiveness of the representation. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilmember Trujillo. I will just add on to my statement with respect to the residents and their concerns about their say. It's really their say in 2 representatives, and Councilmember Trujillo is correct. We all answer to residents citywide, and that's what makes this current council pretty cohesive. So anyways, if there are no other comments or questions for Doug, I will now open this item up for public comments. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated into the record?
Yes, Mayor, we did. We received a written public comment from resident Ariana Oliva. Ms. Oliva commented in support of draft maps 105, 110, and LAM 1 and LAM 9. We also received correspondence from resident Faraz Akil. He commented that his preferred map is map 105. His second preferred map is 101. Third preferred is LAM 9, and fourth preferred is map 106. He opposes adoption of maps 102, 110, 113, and LAM 1. That is all, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to receive and file the written public comment?
Move to close.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Members of the audience wishing to address the City Council regarding the public hearing item may come up when your number is called. I will be calling yellow number cards for this item. I will remind speakers that you have 3 minutes to address the council, and your comments must be regarding the public hearing item only. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have 3, Mayor.
Thank you. Speaker number 1, please come forward.
Lee Squire, Vietnam Era veteran, advocate for the federal civil rights of protected classes. Mayor and City Council, first of all, I recommend do not initiate litigation. It is going to be very, very costly. If you don't think so, ask the City of Placentia. Also, Brea also got a similar letter from another attorney because we have 5 at-large pushing us into coming up with 5 council districts. So I know exactly the pressure you feel. I also don't think it's fair. I also don't envy you trying to pick out which map you're going to choose, but I'm a strong advocate for the 5 individual districts. Also, under the CVRA, an at-large member election may not be imposed or applied in a manner that impairs the ability of protected classes or a class to elect candidates of their choice and its ability to influence the outcome of an election. It also should be stated so that they have a voice in one or more of those elected officials. Also, number 2, I am strongly in favor of making this effective in November of 2026, since in fact, 2 of our council members automatically are up for election in 2026. Those conclude my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 2, please come forward.
Well, here we are again. I'm number 2. We've heard a lot of gaslighting tonight, a lot of lip service, a lot of typical talking points, a lot of liberal Democrat talking points, far left talking points, underrepresented communities. That's going to be bleeding into this issue. It already has been, whatever that is. There's been no explanation for that. However, I digress. This issue, nobody here, nobody yet has produced a disenfranchised voter to change our current system of 4 equal districts and a citywide district. Nobody has produced a disenfranchised voter. Nobody has convinced me why I am so disenfranchised that I need to go to a 5-district city. You have not produced anybody, not anybody on the council, the staff, the people drawing the maps, this highfalutin consultant over here, Mr. Lim or Mr. Lamb, or the ambulance chasing attorney that is bringing this suit against the city of Downey. Nobody's produced a disenfranchised voter that would justify changing our format. But you're willing to disenfranchise myself and every voter in Downey by reducing their capacity to vote by 50%. Because as it stands now, I have 1 representative citywide and 1 from my district. But under your proposal, with no justification, you're going to reduce my capacity to vote by 50%. And nobody has produced an underrepresented victim of any kind. We need proof. You need to produce somebody, anybody, not a protected group. We're not into the identity politics of the Marxist left Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is dead, by the way. It is dead. So let's stop trying to promote these ideas. It is dead. It is defunct. Any of you think you're going to redistrict yourselves or reprogram yourselves, you're just headless horsemen riding around, waiting for orders to come down from on high. But the fact is, in this case, you have not produced any disenfranchised voter to justify changing our voting system. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 3, please come forward.
Yes, good evening, City Council members. My name is Faraz Akil. I'm a resident of Downey District 2, and I'm the map maker of map 105. I'm just here again in case any of the council members had any questions about map 105. And again, I submitted written public comments that go into greater details about my thoughts for each of the focus maps and why I support maps 105, 101, LAM 9, and map 106 in that particular order. Again, thank you for taking the time and carefully considering these maps. And as it's significantly important that we Downey residents have fair representation and a good high quality representation at City Hall. And I wish all the council members the best of success in making their decision. Thank you.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Time is now 8:20, so ordered by the mayor. So unless there are any additional comments from the council, entertain a motion and a second to
Just if we could discuss just a little bit further. For me personally, there are two maps that I think, well, majority of our council, we discussed that map 105 is, I think, what we all incline. And also given that map 105 is somewhere in the center, I also propose map 101. I just wanted to have a little discussion to my council colleagues. I remember that map 101 wasn't a map that my colleagues were inclined to because it contained the downtown area. But if we do map 105, that also contains the downtown area. So I just wanted to see, at least discuss a little bit further, or what maps they prefer, but the difference between 101 and 105.
If I may, Mayor, Council colleague Ortiz, looking at the 101 versus 105, I prefer 105 only because it maintains the residential neighborhoods of Cherokee Estates intact, and it doesn't bring them down to the new district, right? To me, it is a more fair representation of the districts being kept a little more intact, and having a fair representation in the middle of the city, as we had discussed prior.
I think one of the discussions that I remember hearing, or a lot of that I hear, is when we put them in the center. I think it kind of, there's always this idea that there's a South Downey versus a North Downey and everything like that. But I think map 101 compared to map 105, it kind of takes away from each little district from each one, so it creates a fairly fair district, a little bit of District 3, a little bit of District 4, some of District 1, and sort of to equally where it's somewhere in the middle. I'm with map 105 too. I just want to, those are the two maps that I think I'm more inclined. But I think,
and I think 105, that's exactly what it does, without severely breaking the neighborhood of the Cherokee Estates and clumping it elsewhere. I think it keeps it more intact. Because again, I'm with you. After reviewing the 22 maps that were presented to us, I think this one is by far the best representation. It does take from each of the districts, and then also in looking at the data, looking at the deviation from the ideal. Again, this one seems to be more or less within that range, and it's not. I think 101 was had a little bit more impact. But anyway, I will see what the rest of my colleagues have to say on this.
My original number was 104, but then hearing again the viewpoints of my colleagues, I can see why 105 was drafted, and then that was one of my first choices as well, because like you say, it's very delineated. It also has good representation in some of the areas that are in the south part of town that get more traffic that needs to be addressed by our council members. And then I looked at map 113. That was still in my contention. Yes, it looks like it's long. It runs east and west, and as one resident said, it was 4.7 miles. So it's the entire width of the city, but it also does still stay in some of the neighborhoods. The dividing line is Firestone on one, Stewart and Gray on another. That could be a map that could be in contention for me, depending on how the others felt. And lastly, on Lamb 1, to me, that was also a maybe. One of the residents did actually like that one as well. Good, clean lines again, keeping the neighborhoods. So those were my three choices: 105, 113, and Lamb 1. And going back to the representation, I have to say that most people in the community, A, don't know their district, 2, don't know their council person, C don't even realize there is a 5th council district that is the representation. They don't know what at-large is. Thought we were voting for the mayor last year because of, it seemed like that was mayor and the signage and things like that. So they're not as connected. Many people do know about that, but I've mentioned again the expense factor of running at citywide. I don't want to leave out residents that would consider running and being a representative here at council, but feel that they couldn't afford it. This actually brings in somebody to run again, another 5th person that might find it more financially advantageous for them. And who do we go to when we don't know who to respond to, council members? It's the mayor. The mayor's going to get the calls. That's the person the representative likes to address. So there's a number of reasons why some of the reasoning of others doesn't resonate with me. I think it'll be a good decision that we go 5. Don't like the speed that we're going at. We were going to review our charter. I agree as well. And I'm certainly not one to test the waters and lose a lot of our resources and funds that could be possible because of this state law.
Mayor Pro Tem, what is, if we can go back to map 113, as it runs the width of the city, tell us more why you find this map a good contender.
I see that you have a lot of different diverse neighborhoods in there, rather than having a lot of, like I mentioned before, in District 1, and it has a lot of work. Our council member Ortiz has been working hard, and I see the police calls and numbers and such. This one takes a cut between multifamily, single family, just all areas of the city that might have a little bit of need for more eyes on the ground for somebody to watch it. It may seem like it's long, but because the way it's drawn out, the population and the size, the density could be the same as others. I mean, when I campaigned for mine, I'm from Firestone all the way up past the 5 freeway. It's a long road for all of us. So I'm not really, not afraid, but I'm not seeing that it's such a big area to cover. When you break it down into pockets, because it's Firestone, Stewart, and Gray, you can go into those areas. You can see all of those areas that would be yours. That's kind of a reasoning too. You have a lot of the Firestone Boulevard traffic. Somebody else is splitting Downey Avenue, and so that you have 2 representatives along Downey Avenue. So there are some good points that were brought up and things that I see. Anyone else?
I'll chime in, if I may, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I thank you, Councilwoman Fermetta, because I was partial to 101 and 105, and I was like, they're basically the same, but I had failed to recognize the cohesion of the Cherokee Estate. So with that said, I would also agree that I would choose 105 because it keeps that community together, which I had failed to recognize in 101. So I would be partial to 105. I like the idea of less disruption, I think, to those of us that are familiar with the districts, and this owns it in the middle. So if we voted today, I think I'd be partial to 105. Thank you.
Well, we'll call for a motion in a second on given action soon, but I just want to state one more time that, I disagree with, I respectively disagree with my colleagues. I think this is an opportunistic legal shakedown by a rookie attorney, and I'm just not comfortable with this. So I will now call for a motion in a second if there's a desired action.
So, Mayor, are you proposing for us to bring this matter back the last time, or should we make a motion to narrow down from those 8 maps down to perhaps 3? Let's say 105, 113, and I think somebody said, was it Lamb 1 or Lamb 6?
Well, I'm not proposing we bring it back. So, if there's a desired action tonight, if someone wants to make a motion for desired action.
If I can just I want to discuss that a little further. I want to understand where you're at right now, Mayor. I would really appreciate your feedback. What's your idea? What are you looking for right now?
Well, out of all the maps, I think 105 makes the most sense. But honestly, again, I've had a hard time with this. It severely impacts the way we vote here in the city of Downey forever. And I'm just not comfortable with, again, I respect your guys' opinions with respect to the cost-benefit analysis and being good stewards of the city's finances and protecting that with the threat of potential litigation. But again, at the end of the day, for me, myself, I just see this as an opportunistic legal shakedown that someone just saw some low-hanging fruit and went after the city of Downey. And I know that we were going to discuss this on our own anyways. I just don't like the fact that we have someone from the outside dictating what we do here. So
At speed, we move.
so that's where I'm at right now. So again, I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you guys want to make a motion in a second, then because we have to. This is the 6th hearing.
And I think my question is because I think there is that we're more or less discussing more map 105, but is there from my council colleagues is there a desire to discuss 113, bring it back?
I am uncomfortable with 113. I think it's just a very drastic change. I like the concept of putting it somewhere in the middle and each district giving some of their residents to create this. That one's just, I was uncomfortable with that one. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm comfortable making a motion today, and I vote that I make a motion that the council adopts map 105. Sometimes I wonder if the attorney heard what we were talking about, because we had brought this up, the fact that we wanted to reduce the district before he even came in the picture. So I'm comfortable. I do agree with Mayor Pro Tem Pemberton and some of the points that she brings up about campaign time and the differences in the districts, and just level the playing field for all 5 districts to be equal representatives, since we all work cohesively anyway. So with that, I'll make a motion that we adopt map 105.
I'd second that motion.
If I just may interject as a point of procedure, Councilmember Trujillo, the motion should include the accompanying item to introduce the ordinance based on the selected map as well, so as to package those two together to begin the implementation process.
Thank you.
If that motion did carry, the ordinance would then return for a second reading on May 13th.
Now, are we also voting on when we want to make this valid or effective 2026?
Yes, that's correct, Councilmember Frometa. The motion should also include the desired timeframe by which the council would like the changes to take effect. And the choices there are either November 2026 or November 2028.
Okay.
On that point, what is the difference? Is there any difference if we adopted 2026 versus 2028?
Well, you have 2 seats that will be up for reelection, or you will have 2 seats. And so as we look at the redistricting and potentially shaving off additional from each district, that might be better for people seeking office.
If 2026 were selected as the desired date, that would mean the changes would take effect for districts 2 and 4, which are up for re-election in November 2026. If 2028 were selected as the desired date, that would mean that districts 1, 3, and 5 would be altered beginning in November 2028, and districts 2 and 4 would be altered for the first time in 2030.
Is there any impact in terms of costs to the city between 2026 adoption or 2028?
Councilmember, not necessarily. There is some, when you say cost, I'll just add that there's some risk of exposure, if you will, in waiting until 2028, in that, however unlikely it may be, there could be a new CVRA threat if the implementation were delayed until 2028. But our resolution of intention that was adopted by the council in November of last year did state their intention to make the change by November 2028. So either would be consistent with that resolution.
So with that said, Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to amend the motion to be that we adopt MAP 105, that we begin the process to adopt an ordinance to accompany our choice, and that the map be implemented effective 2026. Is that acceptable to you?
Yes.
If I may, Mayor, just one comment on the annual, the year thing. The city attorney laid out the liability if you extend. The practical effect for the voters is if it takes effect in 2026, the people who are currently in districts 2 and 4 but get moved into District 5 they wouldn't be voting in 2026. They would wait to vote until 2028. So there is a group of people who their vote would be delayed because they wouldn't vote until 5 comes up in 2028. But on the flip side is the legal risk that the city attorney just laid out. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you, Doug. So there was a motion and second.
That could be confused. If I can, I won't feel comfortable if I don't ask this question. When my council colleagues are discussing keeping Cherokee states intact, how is MAP 101 not keeping that intact?
The Cherokee, well, my understanding
because it's completely there.
Cherokee estates, I'll let Councilwoman Fermetta answer that.
I'll be comfortable. I know that we still have one more meeting to vote on this matter. I just really want to really understand my colleagues' understanding before we make a decision like this right now. I do agree 2026 is a great time for us to implement these maps, but the difference between MAP 101 to MAP 105 for my council colleagues is because it keeps the Cherokee states intact. When I see MAP 105, I still see that District 2 and District 1 have been, the shift is a little bit lower. So I just want to understand completely before we vote on that.
Councilwoman Ortiz, there was a motion and a second. You're free to make a substitute motion.
Oh, so that's it. There's no more discussions, right?
No, you can make a substitute motion if you'd like.
If I may answer, Mr. Mayor. Another thing that I pointed out, you see the triangle in 101, Stewart and Gray up to Firestone?
All right.
It just seems like that is an offshoot. And so another thing, 105 just keeps it cleaner. That one triangle, Stewart and Gray that kind of seems off. So
that's actually the way it's designed right now, currently.
Is that right?
For District 2 and 3, yeah.
And I personally, on 101, the cutoff is Alameda. And on 105, it brings it down a little lower, down to Imperial, allowing another woman person to take some of the area that sometimes has a higher activity. Maybe it's in calls and things of that nature, more multifamily things of that nature. So you're kind of spreading out a little bit of the diversity of the community.
Yeah.
So that District 1 isn't always in that pocket, in that corner where there's a lot of activity and concerns that we have now. So you'll have
It
another.
shares the load more evenly.
Shares the load. I like that. Shares the load, exactly. And if you notice here, part of the current district on 101, it's south of Firestone. It goes to Stewart and Gray. That's always kind of an odd piece that I thought, in going in there. It's not part of the neighborhood as we've been talking about. And 105 keeps that part of another area that is south of Firestone and gives it to that particular council member.
Correct.
But still gives them part of their area past Imperial and such. So that cleans up that little area. That's kind of a cutout and also gives more area for a new council member in that area by Imperial and Lakewood, Brookshire.
So there's a motion and a second.
There was a motion and a second.
I will just throw it out there. I'll make a substitute motion for us to discuss MAP 105 and MAP 101 next meeting.
There was a substitute motion made. Is there a second? Okay, there was a motion and a second. Please vote.
On the first motion.
On the first motion.
On the
yeah.
first motion.
The motion is approved with Mayor Sosa and Councilmember Ortiz voting no.
The other piece to check in on is just the lettering, lettering versus numbering. Or the obvious assumption would be 1 through 5 is A through E. I don't, we drew these maps not knowing where you live, but just want to confirm that that's the way to go. We're not going to throw anyone's numbers off.
The vote on that, I think we all agree on that.
I'm fine with A through E is 1 through 5.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't throw anyone's number off, we don't need a vote. That'd be the natural way to do it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Move on to item number 2, approval of United States Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD planning documents,
You're still
draft 2025 to 2029, consolidated plan, and 2025 through 2026 action plan. The City Council approved the draft 2025 to 2029 consolidated plan and draft 2025 to 2026 action plan, and authorize the city manager or his designee to submit the documents and the required certifications to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And 2, authorize the city manager or his designee to modify and execute any and all appropriate instruments, agreements, contracts, and implementing documents related to the implementation and administration of the proposed fiscal years 2025 to 2029 consolidated plan and fiscal year 2025 to 2026 annual action plan, community development block grant, and home investment partnership grant program, including subrecipient grant contracts and agreements based on the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's appropriation to the city. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open. The time is now 8:42. City Clerk Duarte, do you have proof of publication?
I do, Mayor.
Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the publication?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report?
Yes, Mayor, we'll have our Economic Development Director, Mr. Ramirez, provide the presentation.
Good evening, Austin.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for the time this evening. Today we'll discuss the required 5-year planning document that is called the Consolidated Plan. We'll talk about the community feedback and data analysis that went into informing those priorities and goals. And then we'll also talk about the upcoming action plan that begins implementation of that consolidated plan. Just some overview. The consolidated plan is required every 5 years by HUD in order for cities like Downey to continue receiving federal home and CDBG funds. The priorities and needs within the consolidated plan, or CON plan for short, are informed by a needs analysis that's conducted as well as a community needs survey. And then the consolidated plan is implemented each of those 5 years through the annual action plan process. So between October 29th, 2024 and March 9th, 2025, the city released a community needs survey. The survey was advertised in the Downey Patriot on social media channels. It was sent to the Recreation ActiveNet listserv and included in utility bills. It was offered in Spanish and English, primarily electronically, but at anyone's request, if they wanted a physical copy, we were happy to provide that and accept surveys that way. Our goal is really to reach a variety of audiences in Downey and try and make it as accessible for people of varying socioeconomic backgrounds. If you look at the charts on the screen, you'll see I think we accomplished that based on our survey respondents' demographic data. good mix of ages, different genders, educations, and household incomes. And then just as a reference point, our program consultant MDG informed us that Downey's response rate of 452 was about double what they experienced in other cities. They serve 16 cities in the Southern California region. So just a good reference point about the engagement levels within our community compared to others. And in terms of key takeaways from those survey results, we asked the respondents to essentially rank by highest need the types of services within 5 different categories that they wanted to see continue in Downey. For housing services, those categories were housing rehabilitation, home ownership aid, and accessibility improvements. For housing types, it was single family, affordable rental, and senior housing. For public facilities, it was youth, parks and recreation, and community centers. For economic development services, it was childcare, financial and digital literacy, and employment opportunities. And then for social services, it was crime prevention, youth, mental health, and homeless services. So when we combined the community's feedback with the needs analysis and the data from that report, there were some key takeaways that help highlight households in Downey that are highly sensitive to adverse events and at risk of homelessness. One of the most notable was that about 8.4% of residents in Downey live below the federal poverty level. That number included a little over 3,000 children. Just as reference, the federal poverty level for a 4-person household is set at $32,000. This number is slightly different than what was in the staff report. We had a calculation error, my apologies. So the 8.4% is a lower percentage than what was in the staff report, but still highlights the need of families in Downey experiencing poverty. 32% of households in Downey earned less than or equal to 50% of the area median income. That could consider them as a very low income household. 50% of the AMI for a 4-person household in LA County is about $50,000. 55% of households in Downey earned less than or equal to 80% of the area median income. That would be considered a low income household. 80% of the AMI for a 4-person household is a little less than $80,000. And then 35% of households have at least one family member over the age of 62. 86% of housing units in Downey were constructed before 1980. Therefore, we assume severe rehabilitation is needed in order to continue to make sure they meet code and safety standards. We have also experienced an increase in requests from residents concerned about their housing rights and that their rights may be violated. So we continue to work closely with the Fair Housing Foundation. And then in terms of homelessness, CityNet's December 2024 census identified 151 unsheltered homeless individuals in Downey. So as a whole, when we look at the community needs and the responses to the survey, as well as the data from the needs analysis, it helps inform the type of programs we want to invest in and the types of vulnerable households we want to continue to serve. Based on the combination of those two factors, the priority needs we've identified for 25 to 29 for the consolidated plan is to increase the supply of affordable housing, preserve the supply of affordable housing, improve public facilities and infrastructure, prevent and eliminate homelessness, and provide public services to low and moderate income residents within Downey. The goals then tied to those needs are to support affordable housing, public facility infrastructure improvements through our Section 108 debt service, equal housing opportunities, homeless prevention services, public services, and planning and administration to make sure we have the capacity to administer all of these programs in compliance with federal requirements. I'm going to shift to the annual action plan now because that's part of what will be approved tonight. The proposed activities for the 25-26 year are listed on the table above. I think some notable reductions. We're proposing a continued reduction of public services funding. It's an overall decrease of $55,000 from last year. LA CADA's funding, however, has remained the same from the previous year. The reasons for this, many organizations have continued to shift towards the CBO program. It just doesn't place the same administrative burden on them as the federal requirements do. Additionally, organizations who cannot demonstrate compliance with public services requirements or do not have success successful experience managing federal funds are not eligible to receive this funding at this point. And so the pool of eligible applicants has also decreased significantly. At the same time, we continue to see increased demand for the housing rehab program. There's a slide later in the presentation specifically about that program. So we've continued to see that need. And so as we reduce public services funding, every dollar of that we're reallocating to the housing rehab program. Every $50,000 reallocated to the rehab program reduces the wait time for the last person on the wait list by 1 year. So it's a significant way to continue to support the housing rehab program. So you'll see the housing rehab program on the table. You'll also see our continued debt service for Section 108 loans. 2 of those loans will be repaid by 2027, which provides further dollars that we can reallocate to the housing rehab program. So I think on the horizon, we're seeing a few different ways to complete more housing rehab projects. The Fair Housing Foundation, as I mentioned, continues to be a really great partner to the city and our residents. It's multiple referrals a week we're making to them at this point to provide no-cost legal assistance to individuals. And then there's an administrative portion there at the end of the table. The current estimate from HUD we're using is last year's number, so that's a little over $1 million. We expect to receive the final allocation within the next 30 to 60 days. It can vary slightly from year to year. Essentially what we do if the final allocation is different, we would adjust the budget accordingly. For proposed home activities for the 25-26 action plan, there's homelessness prevention services with the Whole Child. That continues to be a really powerful tool to prevent at-risk households from entering homelessness and keeping them housed. We have the required affordable housing development set aside, which is a set percentage we're required to allocate. And then we have the home funded portion of the housing rehab program. As well as administration. Current estimate there is a little over $417,000. Again, similarly to the CDBG activities, we'll get a final allocation here within the next 30 to 60 days. These are all continuations of existing programs. And then I did want to just provide some additional information on the housing rehab program. It continues to be our most requested form of housing assistance here at the city. You'll see a table that shows we've been able to complete more projects over the last several years. A lot of that was made possible by program income. So that was funding in addition to our annual allocations. That program income is generated when someone repays a former home loan or a former loan from previous housing rehab projects. We only do grants at this point, but that money continues to come in on an annual basis. The waitlist currently has 41 applicants, so that means the last person on the list has an approximately 6-year wait. One difference I want to specify is that we no longer have an interest list. That was something we kept at one point, and that was, if you recall last year, a figure of over 100 people. At this point, we keep a true eligibility list, so if someone's on the list, they're eligible to receive that funding essentially when it's their turn. The issue with the eligibility list is even though it required less administrative support from the city to keep, we found that a lot of those people who were on that list for several years, when they got to the actual program, they weren't eligible for income reasons or for property value reasons. And so now if someone's on the list, we've vetted them, we've done some initial legwork so that it's worth the wait, essentially. There is not a...
If I may, do we keep communication with those on the wait list, considering if it's several years that they're on the wait list, now that there's, you make sure they've been vetted and they have that eligibility list, do
Yes.
we let them know in the process?
Yes, part of how we do that is to maintain their status on the wait list is they have to certify annually their information. And so it's also a good way to touch base. Sometimes people move. Sometimes people are no longer interested. So we do see movement on that list on a year-to-year basis, not just from completing projects, but from people opting out, essentially.
And is there any way to carve out some more funding for some of these residents from some program? Because that just, to me, is unfathomable, and the need is there, and you're helping the individuals in the home.
Yes, it's something we try to do. If there's ever any unspent funds, for example, from the CDBG activities, we allocate all of those dollars to the housing rehab program with few exceptions. So the only way to reallocate additional funding is to essentially take funding away from another category. That's part of why we've reduced the amount of funding for public services this year. As I mentioned, we have 2 Section 108 loans that will be fully paid off by 2027. That will provide an additional $200,000 a year that we can put towards the housing rehab program.
Is there a cap per household of how much they can?
Yeah, it's up to $50,000. Not all projects reach that amount. It really depends on the scope of work that they're trying to accomplish. But up to $50,000, it's what's allowed. Yeah. And then there is not a wait list for home funding. It's CDBG that has the 41-person wait list. When someone applies, they don't, we choose which funding source they're eligible for based on their information. Home funding is much more restrictive because it has income qualifications as well as home value qualifications. So we have to look at the proposed improvements and make sure that it doesn't exceed 95% of the median home value in the area the home is in. We have beautiful homes in Downey. Home values are very high. So when we do these types of significant rehab projects, it increases the value of those homes significantly and often exceeds that threshold. So next steps, once we have those final allocations, we will finalize the budgets and proposed activities. We'll finalize the full plan as well as the action plan that'll kick us off in 25-26. And at that point, everything will be submitted to HUD for final approval, and we'll continue to implement these programs. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Austin. It's a lot of good information. Any members of the council have any questions or comments, additional questions or comments?
No.
Okay, I will now open this item up for public comment. Thank you, Austin. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated into the record?
We did not, Mayor.
Thank you. Members of the audience wishing to address the City Council regarding public hearing item may come up when your number is called. I will be calling pink number cards for this item. I remind speakers you have 3 minutes to address the council, and your comments must be regarding the public hearing item only. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have 2, Mayor.
Thank you. Speaker number 1, please come forward. Mr. Squire, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Lee Squire, District Number 3. My comments are on the 2025-2026 action plan, CDBG-funded housing rehabilitation program. Does this housing program include both single-family housing, residential, and single-family mobile homes? CDBG is the most suited for the single-family mobile homes because this is private property and not real property. Again, I just want to know if, in fact, this includes also the mobile homes within this community to which they would have a right to this funding. I also agree that your HUD-funded home program is very restrictive and it's not conducive or suitable for rehabilitations of mobile homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 2, please come forward.
Okay, not only are things restrictive, it just depends on who the city's going to decide to assist. Of course, there isn't enough to assist. District 3 pointed that out. That's absolutely correct. However, whoever makes these decisions is going to make sure LA CAUTA gets some money and the whole child will get some money. Some slime pit money laundering outfits, nonprofits, they're going to get their money. Maybe some friends will get some great real estate deals. Maybe they can buy an old theater, Downey Avenue, put a pizza place in there, purchase it at below market value, and then the city won't write off the loss. Those are the deals that are going to go on. However, we have a new president now, Donald Trump, and we have a new HUD director. Things are going to change now. You're going to have to be required to spend the money in certain places and not be allowed to spend it in certain places. So these things are going to have to be considered, and they're going to affect everybody. But my suggestion is you better hurry and grab all you can, because it's getting to the point where these things are going to be cut off because of the policies that you have adhered to in the local cities, especially in California. California is crumbling. The county is crumbling. We're not going to do a big deal on getting LAHSA money or anything like that to pass it down to the local cities. You're going to distribute that money. This is from the feds, from HUD. So things are going to change. LAHSA is only allowing us to have $500,000 for homeless people. So the county couldn't keep track of the money. The governor couldn't keep track of the money. So they're going to kick it down to the city so we can lose the money or steal the money. That's what's going on here. So keep in mind, you're going to have HUD now and a different president, Donald Trump, a president with some backbone, and he means what he says. Hopefully the corruption gets cut out, because southeast area of LA is rife with corruption, totally rife with corruption. So good luck.
Thank you. I will now entertain a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Time is now,
Second.
Gotta get in there.
the time is now 9:01. Sorted by the mayor. Unless there are any comments from the council, I will entertain a motion and a second to approve the recommended actions 1 and 2.
Move to approve the recommended actions 1 and 2.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Okay, we'll move on to public hearing item number 3. Consideration of establishing underground utility district number 24 pursuant to California Public Utilities Commission Rule 20A and Chapter 5 of Article 7 of the Downey Municipal Code, to that the City Council adopt resolution number 25-8297, establishing underground utility district number 24 along the length of Paramount Boulevard from Imperial Highway to approximately 50 feet south of Quill Drive pursuant to California Public Utilities Commission Rule 20A and Chapter 5 of Article 7 of the Downey Municipal Code. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open. The time is 9:02. City Clerk Duarte, do we have proof of publication?
We do, Mayor.
Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the publication?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report?
Yes, Mayor. We'll have our principal civil engineer, Mr. Tim Bursell, provide the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Tim.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and residents. Tim Berthasol, Principal Civil Engineer with the Public Works Department. And tonight's item is a public hearing to consider the establishment of underground utility district number 24 along Paramount Boulevard from Imperial Highway to approximately 50 feet south of Quill Drive. The location was selected after SCE confirmed the eligibility for Rule 28 funding, replacing the previously considered segment on Firestone Boulevard. The scope of work includes 1,400 linear feet of undergrounding existing overhead utilities, installation of new underground conduit, vaults, service conversions up to 100 feet per customer. The project is fully funded using $2.8 million in Rule 28 work credits allocated to the city. It's important to note that while Rule 28 covers electric utility infrastructure, telecommunication providers are responsible for funding their own undergrounding work. Construction is anticipated to begin in 2027, and temporary impacts are anticipated during the construction period, such as noise, limited access, and brief utility interruptions. But the city will provide advance notification to affected properties through mailers, on-site postings, and digital updates. And city staff will remain available throughout the planning and construction phases to support ongoing coordination with residents and businesses. The project is made possible through Rule 20A, the Rule 20A program established by the California Public Utilities Commission, which allows for the undergrounding of overhead utility lines where there is a demonstrated public benefit, such as major transportation corridors in this instance. Under Rule 20A, SCE funds the construction of the city's allocated work credit balance, and the city is not responsible for the costs related to the telecom infrastructure conversion. Pursuant to Chapter 5 of the Downey Municipal Code, the formation of an underground utility district requires City Council action through a formal resolution adoption. This public hearing has been properly noticed to all surrounding property owners in accordance with the requirements, and City staff in coordination with SCE has evaluated the project limits and defined the boundaries of UUD number 24, extending from Imperial Highway to 50 feet south of Quill Drive on Paramount Boulevard. The proposed resolution before you this evening authorizes the use of Rule 28 credits to complete the project as described. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm sorry, when would this start?
Approximately 2027 construction.
Thank you. Council colleagues, any questions or comments for Tim?
The only comment, thank you, Tim, for the presentation. I think the only comment I would have is to ensure there's a lot of community engagement, particularly in that little area. There's a lot of multifamily homes and apartments, I should say. And I know that there's brief interruptions, but for some people, those brief interruptions can cause a great deal of disruption. I think a note of caution to really make sure our community and those residents are thoroughly informed of what is coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great suggestion. Councilmember Fermetta, any other questions or comments?
No, I think it really will make a big improvement in aesthetics for the community. And even if there were serious accidents, that we don't lose at electrical for that with a pole going down. And I know in prior councils, Meredith Perkins was very adamant in working on Imperial Highway to get some of that underground. We have underground in what areas, I think?
Quite a few other areas, 23 other districts.
23, yeah. So it'd be nice. But like you said, make sure that they know for any kind of equipment that they might have, even something as simple as, aquariums and, apparatus for breathing. So, yeah.
These work credits that the fund the underground lines, how often can we apply for that, or is it
so? Unfortunately, this program is being phased out. It existed for quite a few years, but the funding is reaching its end for SCE. So this is sort of the final phase of this Rule 28 funding the city will be able to implement.
Okay, well, that will be the only strip that we will see with that underline.
Well, the intent would be to, as we go through time, to continue to look at other opportunities to underground things and try to find other funding sources to do that. So one of the priorities last year from council was to create a process, or at least to have in staff's mind that as we go over the next 20, 30 years, to look for opportunities to underground a lot of these overhead lines. This was an opportunity for us to use this last bit of funding to have SCE pay for this, but we'll continue to look for other opportunities as we go from year to year.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Tim. I will now open this item up for public comment. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated into the record?
We did not, Mayor.
Thank you. Members of the audience wishing to address City Council regarding the public hearing item only may come up when your number is called. I will be calling purple number cards for this item. I remind speakers you have 3 minutes to address the council, and your comments must be regarding the public hearing item only. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have none, Mayor, for this item.
Okay, thank you. I will entertain a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Time is now 9:09.
Second.
Thank you. Sorted by the mayor. Unless there are any comments, additional comments from the council, I will entertain a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
I'll second.
We need a motion.
Motion to.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote. Let's wait a second on that vote. Let's wait a second on that vote. I'm going to call for a 5-minute recess. maybe sooner.
Voting on number 3, the underground.
Okay, I will now reconvene the council meeting. We had a motion and a second. Please vote to adopt the resolution.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. Now is the time for public comment regarding agenda, consent calendar, and non-agenda items.
The City Council will now take public comment on agenda, consent calendar, and non-agenda items. If you did not receive a number card and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room to be issued a number card by city staff. We will be calling blue number cards for the public comment period. Before we begin the public comment period, we would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Copies of the meeting rules are located in the back of the chambers. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules and cause a disruption will receive one warning and then may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under the municipal code or citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. The City Council acknowledges the right of the public to address issues that are within the city's jurisdiction and invites the public to do so during the City Council meeting. However, this right must be balanced with the need of the City Council to conduct the public business in a fair and efficient manner, free from disruption or disturbance. We expect that everyone who participates in today's meeting, from the members of the council here on the dais, to staff, to the members of the public in attendance, do so with respect and dignity. Please refrain from using profanity, name-calling, or behaving in a way that disrupts this meeting. This includes yelling, whistling, booing, screaming, and any other outburst that disrupts or disturbs the meeting. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts persons who are addressing the City Council. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts council members while they are speaking. Any other conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. And attacks of a personal nature on city staff or city council members that have no connection to agenda items or non-agenda items. We remind speakers that your comments must be addressed to the mayor and not to any other council member, city staff, or the audience.
City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment to be incorporated into the record?
We did not, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to receive and file written public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
We can move
We
on
can
to
bypass? Okay, all right, thank you. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have 4, Mayor.
Based on the number of speakers, each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the City Council. I remind all speakers that you must remain seated until your number is called. Speaker number 1, please come forward.
Lee Square Vietnam era veteran, son, nephew, World War II. Mayor, City Council. Holocaust Remembrance Day, April 24, 2025. I asked you, Mayor Sosa, for recognition of Holocaust Remembrance Day at the last council meeting. I did not see it on the agenda. Given the growth of anti-Semitism in America and the growing hatred towards the Jews in America, they do not have this coming. Anti-Semitism also brings dishonor to the World War II military veterans who liberated Jews from Nazi tyranny in Europe. Again, Mayor, I am surprised that there was no recognition for Holocaust Remembrance Day, April 24, 2025, on behalf of the Jews in America and the Jewish temple near Tamid. That's my comments.
Speaker number 2, please come forward.
All right, non-agenda. Measure S was passed in 2016 and implemented in 2017, and it was bringing in $11 million a year. We were promised more police officers, boots on the ground. We had 124 officers at that time. And then we were told that Measure D came into effect just recently. That was a 0.5% sales tax, would generate $6 million a year. And at that time, we still have 124 officers. Now, that number 124, we have not added any more officers to that. I would venture to say that we don't have at least 124 officers. We wanted boots on the ground. We didn't want staff. We didn't want to create the bureaucracy, not to demean anything that they're doing. But the fact is we need 19 more officers, physical officers, legitimate officers, boots on the ground. Downey is a mess. It's not even close what it used to be. And it needs to change, and we need to get our priorities together. We need 19 officers, boots on the ground, out in the field. And they need that support, not somebody sitting behind a desk somewhere or giving money, an extra $700,000 to somebody's security firm to hire some rangers that don't do anything, that can't do anything. We need legitimate officers. I'll even go one step further. We need men officers. It's dangerous out there. It's really dangerous. We need men officers. And we're going to stand and remind you repeatedly that we have not added any new officers. 0. And we were promised this. Another thing, number 9, second reading, adoption of the ordinance of the recreation, commercial recreation. I noticed that you had to consult the Keys tribe or the Tonga tribe. This is the same group of More Identity Politics that the State Gallery observes that we are on occupied land from their relatives. Now, when Catherine Alvarez was in here, she was calling me a white colonizer. And this is exactly what this policy is. You're accusing us of being white colonizers. The wars are over. There's no identity politics. Stop paying attention to this silly nonsense. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 3, please come forward.
Mayor Sosa, members of the City Council, Mr. Bradley and staff, good evening. A couple of things. First of all, happy Earth Day, Mayor. Secondly, one of the young ladies that you gave an award to tonight reminded me who my first boss was, although at the time I didn't realize it, and that was my mom. Thirdly, I want to acknowledge the city's awards pertaining to their budget. One was for transparency, and the other one had to do with fiscal responsibility. And it's been apparently 12 years in a row, and I congratulate the city for doing that. The last item I'm going to talk about is the South Coast Air Quality Management District. I alluded to this a couple of weeks ago. On their May 2nd meeting coming up, their board of directors has a chance to vote on 2 proposed rules, Rule 1111 and 1121. They have to do with banning gas appliances throughout. Basically, what they propose is that in the year 2026, that all electric or all gas models will be forced to change over to electric water heaters, electric furnaces, and so on and so forth. If this rules are implemented, what they will do is possibly create a financial impact on many families. And the other item that it might provide for is that the increased electrical load on their grid may not be sufficient with today's infrastructure. With that in mind, Mayor, this ends my comments. I yield my remaining time back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Lisi.
Mayor, let me ask the Assistant City Manager to address that issue real quick.
Yes, thank you, City Manager Bradley. So the city has been monitoring that item for quite a while, and we're working in conjunction with the surrounding cities to put together a coordinated communication back to Air QMD regarding that item.
Thank you. Speaker number 4, please come forward.
Hello again, council members. My name is Faraz. While looking at the council agenda, I noticed about item 6, the citywide bus signal priority project. And I just wanted to say that as an active bus rider, I do strongly support bus signals priorities. But also, I do drive every now and then. And it also benefits car riders because when you're driving on the street and well, normally when you're driving on the street and you're behind a bus, it's a bit of an inconvenience. But with bus priority signals, while you're behind the bus, the signal will change more often. So actually, you can go faster if you're not with the bus. But I do support item 6. But also, I want to bring, while we're on the topic of buses, I want to bring to the city's attention about a bus stop that currently serves the northbound Lakewood Boulevard bus stop for the 266. It's at the Downey Promenade bus stop at the intersection of Alameda Street and Lakewood Boulevard. That bus stop has bushes, which prevents riders from exiting the back of the door, and this forces riders to have to exit through the front door. And when there's many riders trying to exit and enter the bus at the same time, it's not only inconvenience for riders, but going back to the cars, it causes the bus to idle longer on Lakewood Boulevard and can cause a traffic backup for cars behind the bus. So if there's a way for the city to make room at that bus stop where the back door opens at, it would be a great benefit to us Downey bus riders and car drivers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there a motion and second to close public comment?
So moved.
So ordered by the mayor. Now is the time for consent calendar items. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from an item? Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar? Actually, any council members would like to remove or abstain themselves?
I move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We have one administrative report tonight. Item number 12, introduction of an ordinance to establish procedures for the placement of delinquent solid waste charges on the Los Angeles County property tax roll. The City Council introduced an ordinance to establish procedures for the placement of delinquent solid waste charges on the LA County tax roll, and number 2, authorize the preparation of the annual report delinquent accounts to be delivered by Athens Services to the city by the beginning of June 2025. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report on item number 12?
Yes, Mayor, I'll go ahead and take this item. We, as staff, have been working with Athens over the past year, and then probably last summer we had a conversation with them, and they had some concerns about the number of delinquencies that they had in their accounts. A number of customers are past due. Our contract with them states that they could request from the city to potentially stop services on those accounts, but we began conversations with them to say, that's a public health issue, and we really like to look at some alternatives rather than trying to stop services. And in conversation with Athens, a proposal came forward that each year the city could potentially, with its property tax assessments, place those delinquent accounts on the property tax roll to be collected by the city, and then turned back over to Athens Services to pay for those delinquent accounts. And basically bring them up to date. That, again, would be a one-year process, one-year option that we have to work with them. So approximately around June of each year, we would get a report from Athens outlining the number of delinquent accounts that they have. There would be a process for public noticing with the account holders to let them know that there is a process to collect that debt. There would be a number of notices for that, and there would also be a public hearing they'd be notified about to come to and be able to provide public comment testament and be able to settle those accounts. If the items are passed and approved by council, then each August we'd place on the tax roll and line item on their ad valorem tax to remit to the city to pay off their delinquent debts. That's the staff's report. I'd be happy to answer any questions. We do have Athens here this evening to answer any questions if there is any desire to get feedback from them. And I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Bradley. Do any council members have any questions or comments?
Mayor, I don't have a question. I just have a comment, and that is, I'm glad we are doing this. Again, it's from a business standpoint, I feel for Athens that they've had to deal with delinquent accounts, and it is difficult to run a business if you are not getting paid. At the same time, it is, again, a public health hazard to have trash not picked up. And so, again, looking at both sides of the issue, I think it's important that we establish this so that those individuals that have not paid their accounts, again, a lot of times the property managers are not aware that their tenants are not paying and they're falling into delinquency. But I think this provides a well thought out process to make sure that those accounts are collected and that Athens is paid accordingly. No business should have to run on charity. So, and from our standpoint, we want to make sure that our community stays healthy and that we don't have trash overload in those issues. So I'm fully supportive of this, and I thank Athens for being here tonight. I don't have questions, just those comments. Thank you.
I just have a question. Is this it's pretty standard procedure for other cities?
Yeah, several cities have a very similar ordinance, yes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments, council colleagues?
I would have a comment. I think my question was answered earlier because of a renter. So if you're an owner, I believe with like Council Member Frometa has said, that if you're an owner, you need to be responsible. Any other utility would be cut off, be it electric or cable or phone. After 90 days, that's a generous amount of time to try to work out either that or a payment system or something. But for a tenant that is paying the bill directly, the owner rather needs to be notified that they are delinquent, because when a tenant leaves, they have 21 days to get their security deposit back, and if they are in arrears, this is what they can be taken from. So I'm sure there's a plan and there's a system that allows the owner to know once they're delinquent. I believe there's something that will be mailed out or a letter to both the owner and to the resident that is paying for the service. So that way it keeps the property owners are responsible. They don't want to have any assessments on their property tax bills and have a lien for any reason at all. So I think they'll work out that resolution so that they would be notified.
Right. No, and I think it's important too because, again, almost half of our city are renters. And so there's some very responsible tenants. There are others that clearly are not.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not an amount that is huge. And so it's, again, I agree with MPT Pemberton, and I'm glad that this is finally being put in.
Did you mention
in
the
order.
number? Did I miss that? How many were delinquent? Yeah.
I didn't state it, but it is in the report. I think it's
It's in
over
the report. It's a large amount.
$200,000
Yes,
in value.
hundreds.
Yes.
Yeah, 212,000.
It's significant.
I will say, Mayor Pro Tem, we had a conversation earlier today with Athens about the property owner tenant issue, and as I understand it, this ordinance will open up the door for them to be able to have more communications with the property owners on this item.
And
Okay, great.
by passing this ordinance, we're not going to have any disruption at all with service, even though they're delinquent?
Service will continue to be provided. Yes, correct.
All right, I'll now entertain a motion and a second to approve the recommended actions 1 and 2.
Make a motion to approve the recommended actions.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Okay, the city council meeting will now adjourn in the memory of Deputy Sheriff William May, 38, of the Walton County Sheriff's Office, who passed away after being shot responding to a disturbance call, and Deputy Sheriff Melissa Pollard, 47, of the Wood County Sheriff's Office, who passed away while on duty in a traffic collision. United States Marine Corps Lance Corporals Albert Aguilera, 22, of Riverside, California, and Marcelino Gamino, 28, of Fresno, California, who passed away when their vehicle crashed as a convoy was traveling along the U.S.-Mexico border near Santa Teresa, New Mexico, and Pope Francis, 88, head of the Catholic Church and first Latin American Pope. A moment of silence, please. The time is now 9:32. This meeting is adjourned.